Elias Ward stood in the quiet observation room of the starbound horizon, watching the soft glow of distant stars through the wide glass walls. The ship moved smoothly through the silent region of uncharted space, far from any known route or busy travel lane. For most crew members, this area felt empty and uneventful, but for Elias, the emptiness held a strange beauty. The soft hum of the engines, the drifting lights of the nebula far away, and the calm atmosphere made him feel peaceful. As the ship's xenolinguist, he spent most of his time studying languages and cultures of alien civilizations, but today the ship had no scheduled missions, so he finally had a moment to rest. He took a slow breath, watching a cluster of shining particles shimmer near the ship's path. They looked like floating dust, but their gentle movement felt almost alive. Elias smiled slightly. Even after years in space, the small wonders still amazed him. Just as he turned to leave, a sudden tone echoed through the hallway speakers. It wasn't an alarm, but a sharp notification reserved only for unexpected discoveries. Elias paused, listening carefully, as the ship's system made an announcement. Unidentified signal detected. Possible distress call. All research officers, please report to the command deck. Elias straightened, his curiosity immediately rising. A distress signal in an empty region of space was rare, almost unheard of. He walked quickly to the main deck, where the captain and senior crew members were already gathered around the central display. The screen showed a small, faint dot drifting slowly in the dark. "We picked up a weak emergency broadcast," Captain Rowan explained. "The signal is old, but still active. It appears to be coming from a single shuttlecraft. No registered ID, no known design." Elias looked closer. The shuttle seemed damaged but intact. Its design was smooth and curved, unlike any human or allied species ships. It seemed elegant and old at the same time, as though it belonged to a civilization with a very different sense of engineering. "Life support?" Elias asked. "Barely functioning," said the ship's engineer, "but there might be someone inside." The captain gave a firm nod. "Prepare rescue team. Bring the shuttle into docking bay 2. Elias, I want you with us. If there's a survivor, we may need someone who can handle communication." Elias agreed immediately. Something about the situation felt unusual, but not dangerous. Instead, he felt a strange anticipation, as if this moment was quietly pulling him toward something important. Minutes later, he joined the rescue team at the docking bay. The shuttle was small, silent, and covered in faint silver markings that glowed like moonlight. The rescue team opened the hatch slowly, and a soft wave of warm air escaped. Inside, the lights flickered gently, revealing a single figure unconscious in the pilot's seat. The figure appeared humanoid, but taller and more graceful than a human. She wore smooth, dark armor with silver patterns across her shoulders and arms. Her skin was a cool shade of blue with light shimmering across it, almost like crystal reflections. Her long hair, braided neatly, rested on one shoulder. "She's alive," the medic confirmed softly. "Weak heartbeat, but stable." Elias watched quietly as they lifted her onto a portable stretcher. Even unconscious, she carried an aura of strength and calm dignity. Something about her presence felt ancient and proud. Elias felt a strange tug in his chest, familiarity maybe, or a strange kind of recognition he couldn't explain. The medics moved her to the ship's medical center, and Elias followed with the captain. After some time, the alien woman's eyes finally opened. They were bright silver, reflecting light like polished metal. She sat up slowly, confused but aware. The moment her gaze landed on Elias, something changed. She froze completely. Her body, her breath, even her expression stopped as though time itself had paused. Elias felt the atmosphere shift. Her eyes widened, and a soft tremble moved through her hands. She stared at him, not with fear, but with shock and something deeper, like distant memories were rising inside her. Elias felt uncertain. He glanced behind him, thinking she might be looking at someone else. But no. Her eyes remained locked onto him alone. The captain stepped forward gently. "Do you understand us? We mean no harm." The woman didn't reply. She didn't even blink. Slowly, she raised a hand toward Elias, almost as if trying to confirm he was real. Finally, she whispered something in her own language. Her voice was soft, delicate, and filled with disbelief. The translator device on the wall struggled for a moment, processing the unfamiliar language. Then, in a quiet tone, it delivered the translated message. You look exactly like my husband." A wave of silence spread through the room. Elias felt his heart skip a beat. The captain exchanged a surprised glance with the medic. No one spoke for a long moment. Elias stepped forward carefully, trying not to startle her. "I think there's been a misunderstanding," he said gently. "I've never met you before." But the woman shook her head slowly, her eyes never leaving his face. "Your face," she whispered, this time in slow, clear words. "Your voice, even the way you stand. It is the same." Her tone wasn't confused. It was emotional, filled with soft disbelief and quiet hope. Elias didn't know what to say. He had always known he looked ordinary. Brown hair, calm eyes, gentle face. Nothing special. Nothing strange. But to her, he wasn't ordinary. He was a reflection of someone she deeply cared for. The medic asked softly, "Who are you?" "What is your name?" The woman took a slow breath, as though grounding herself before speaking. "I am Commander Vera Thal'iri of the Aestrin Dominion." The title sounded important. Elias had never heard of the Aestrin Dominion before, which meant her people were either extremely isolated or long lost to known records. Vera looked at Elias again, her expression more controlled now but still full of emotion. "My husband, Kalar, disappeared months ago during a mission. I searched everywhere, and now you stand before me with his face." Elias felt a strange tightness in his chest. He had been adopted as a baby, with no knowledge of his biological origins. Part of him had always wondered where he truly came from, but he never expected something this strange. He spoke softly, so she would feel safe. "I'm sorry for your loss. I don't know how I resemble him, but I promise I will help you find answers." Vera's eyes softened. She didn't fully relax, but her breathing steadied. Her posture became calmer, though she still watched him with the intensity of someone looking at a living memory. The rest of the crew gave Vera space, understanding that she was dealing with a shock far greater than they had expected. As the medics checked her condition, Vera continued to observe Elias quietly. Every small movement he made seemed to bring a new flicker of emotion to her face. Relief, longing, confusion, and a small spark of hope. It was clear that she was trying to separate her memories from reality, struggling to understand how a human from a distant planet could look so much like her missing husband. Elias sat near her bed, keeping a gentle distance so she wouldn't feel crowded. He offered her a calm smile, hoping to give comfort even though he didn't fully understand the situation. Viera spoke again, this time more composed. "Your presence, it feels like a sign. My husband vanished while studying ancient star ruins. They were rumored to contain secrets older than any known civilization. I feared he would never return. But now I find someone who shares his face. I do not believe this is chance." Elias felt a soft chill run through him. He didn't believe in fate easily, but the coincidence was too strange to ignore. He looked at her gently. "Then maybe we'll find answers together." Viera's silver eyes shone quietly, and for the first time since she awoke, she looked peaceful. Elias didn't know it yet. But this moment, The instant she froze upon seeing him was the beginning of a journey that would change both of their lives, uncover ancient truths, and reveal a connection between their worlds that had been hidden for centuries. And deep inside, Vera felt that the universe had not taken something from her. It had brought something new in return. Elias sat quietly beside Commander Vera in the medical center, trying to process everything that had happened. The room was calm, with soft lights and gentle hums from the machines. Vera looked stronger now, though her expression still showed confusion mixed with hope. Elias understood that seeing someone who looked exactly like her husband must have shaken her deeply, but he also knew she was trying her best to stay composed. Captain Rowan entered the room with a warm but professional smile. "Commander Vera, we're glad to see you awake. Our engineers examined your shuttle. It seems you were drifting for a long time." Vera looked down briefly, her voice soft. "I lost control during my search. I do not remember the final moments before I blacked out." "We're just glad we found you," the captain replied gently. Then he turned to Elias. "We'll need your help. She may know things we've never encountered before." Elias nodded. He wasn't sure why, but he felt connected to this situation more than any other mission he had worked on. Something in Vera's eyes, something in her quiet strength, made him want to understand the truth. A short time later, in a quiet meeting room, the crew gathered with Vera to learn more about her. She sat gracefully, her posture elegant but tired. Elias sat across from her, offering a friendly presence. Whenever she became unsure or overwhelmed, her gaze naturally moved toward him, almost as if his face gave her comfort. One of the scientists, Dr. Hale, began the conversation. "Commander Vera, can you tell us where you come from?" Vera nodded slowly. "I am from the Eistrin Dominion. Our civilization is located in a region far from here, across multiple star systems. We are explorers, diplomats, and guardians of peace. My husband, Kalar, was also a commander. He was proud, intelligent, and deeply devoted to our people." Elias noticed how gently she spoke when she mentioned her husband's name. There was no sadness in her tone, only respect, love, and longing. Dr. Hale leaned forward. "You mentioned he disappeared during a mission. Can you tell us more about that?" Vera took a steady breath. "Several months ago, Kalar led a team to investigate ancient star ruins located near our space. These ruins held technology older than any known civilization. We believed they were built by a species no longer alive, but their devices were still active. Some said the devices could manipulate light, energy, and even the patterns of living beings." Elias felt his chest tighten with curiosity. Something about that description felt strangely familiar. Vera continued. "During the mission, Kalar recorded strange readings, signals that did not match anything in our knowledge. He believed the ruins were reacting to him. Then, he vanished. No sign of transport failure. No evidence of attack. He was simply gone." The room fell quiet. Everyone listened carefully. Vera's voice softened. "I searched everywhere. I followed every clue. Many told me to stop looking, but I could not. I believed he was still alive. And now, I see you." She turned toward Elias with calm, shining eyes. "You are not him, but you carry something of him. I feel it." Elias looked at her kindly. "I don't know how that's possible, but I want to understand. Maybe this is connected to something bigger." The captain cleared his throat softly. "Commander, we'd like permission to examine your shuttle's data logs. It might help us understand what happened." Vera agreed. "Take what you need. If it leads to answers, I give full permission." Later, in the research lab, Elias joined Dr. Hale and several scientists as they studied the data. Vera stood nearby watching the screens. When they opened the final recorded message from her shuttle, a soft hologram projected above the table. It showed Kalar, the man whose face seemed so similar to Elias's. Elias felt a strange shock. Kalar looked taller and more athletic, but the facial features were strikingly close, the same calm eyes, the same gentle expression, the same slight tilt of the head. Vera watched quietly. Even though she had seen this recording many times before, she still felt a soft ache in her chest. Kalar's voice echoed through the room. If this message reaches anyone, know that the ruins are not what they seem. There is a connection, something old, something shared across species. I believe we were guided here. If I do not return, my final request is simple. Continue the search. Someone will come who carries the same spark. The message ended. Vera lowered her eyes. He believed there was a pattern across species. A link. Elias looked toward her. Do you think that link is connected to me? Vera nodded. Yes. I felt it the moment I saw you. The scientists ran further tests, comparing Elias's DNA with the biological data Vera provided from her people. The results arrived hours later. Elias expected nothing unusual. He had been human all his life, and he never suspected anything more. But when the screen displayed the analysis, everyone fell into stunned silence. Dr. Hale spoke carefully. Elias, your DNA contains markers we've never seen in humans before, ancient sequences, very similar to the Eastern genetic patterns. Elias blinked in confusion. Are you saying I'm not human? You are human, Hale clarified quickly, but your ancestors may have come from a shared origin with the Eastern, a very old connection, something that goes back thousands, maybe millions of years. Vera stepped closer, her silver eyes soft with emotion. This explains everything. You are part of the same legacy, not my husband's direct family, but from the same ancient seed. Elias felt a deep, warm confusion inside him. All his life he had wondered why he never felt fully connected to his past. Being adopted, he had no answers about where he originated. But now, for the first time, he saw a piece of truth. He turned toward Vera. You think my presence means something? I believe it, she replied softly. Kalar spoke of someone who would appear, someone whose presence would guide the next step. When I saw you, my heart recognized something before my mind did. Elias didn't know what to say, but he felt something gently unfold inside him, a sense of purpose, a sense of belonging. Captain Rowan entered with a thoughtful expression. We've reviewed your shuttle logs further. They show coordinates Kalar visited before he vanished. These coordinates match no known system on our maps. It's in a region filled with spatial distortions. Vera stood tall. That is where we must go next. The captain hesitated. It's risky. We don't know what might be there. Vera met his gaze calmly. I understand the risk, but I cannot turn back now. Elias stepped forward. He felt the decision form naturally, without fear. I'll go with her. Vera looked at him with a soft warmth in her expression. She didn't smile, but her eyes held a quiet gratitude. She understood that his choice was not simple curiosity. Something inside him was calling him toward the truth. The crew began preparing for the journey. Elias felt a mix of anticipation and nervousness. He stood at his small cabin window, watching the stars drift by. Everything that had happened felt unreal, like a dream he couldn't fully wake from. A gentle knock came at his door. When he opened it, Vera stood there quietly. Her posture was firm, but her expression was gentle. I hope I am not disturbing you, she said softly. Not at all, Elias replied. Please come in. She stepped inside and looked around at the small but comfortable room. Her eyes paused on a small picture of Earth on his shelf. Your world is beautiful, she said quietly. Different from mine, but peaceful in its own way. Elias nodded. I've always been curious about where I came from. I thought Earth was enough, but now I'm not sure. Vera turned toward him with understanding. I know the feeling of searching for answers. Sometimes the universe hides the truth until the moment we are ready to see it. Elias smiled softly. Do you think we'll find your husband? Vera didn't look sad. Instead, she looked thoughtful. I do not know. But whether he is alive or not, I feel that this journey will bring something important. Maybe closure, maybe truth, maybe a new beginning. Elias felt warmth in her words. She wasn't asking him to replace her husband. She wasn't confused anymore. She simply believed that their paths had crossed for a reason. Vyra stepped closer, her voice soft and sincere. Thank you for coming with me. You did not have to, but you chose to. This means more to me than you know. Elias nodded gently. We'll face it together. Vyra's eyes softened, shining quietly. For a moment, both stood silently, feeling the quiet bond forming between them. Not romantic, not forced, but something natural and deep. A connection shaped by destiny, mystery, and shared purpose. As Vera left the room, Elias felt a calm certainty inside him. He didn't know what they would find at the coordinates Kalar left behind. But he knew this journey would reveal the truth about himself, Vera's people, and the ancient origins that tied them together. And somewhere in the depths of space, answers were waiting. The starbound horizon traveled toward the mysterious coordinates with steady speed. Everyone on the crew felt a quiet tension. Even though there was no danger signal, the unknown region ahead carried a strange heaviness. It was an area no human ship had ever explored. The stars grew fewer, and soft waves of shimmering light drifted across the ship's windows like glowing curtains of energy. Elias stood near the observation deck again, watching the unusual patterns. He felt a gentle pull inside him, as if something in that distant light recognized him. Vyra stood beside him, her hands clasped behind her back. She looked calm, but Elias could sense she was preparing herself emotionally. She had waited months for any clue about her husband, and now they were approaching the last place he had been seen. You look thoughtful, Elias said softly. Vera turned her silver eyes toward him. This place feels familiar. The energy in the air. It is the same type my people discovered around the star ruins. Elias nodded slowly. Do you think the ruins will respond to me like they responded to Kalar? It is possible, she said quietly. The ancient technology was designed to recognize certain genetic markers. You share the same lineage, even if your appearance is human. The thought made Elias shiver, but not out of fear. It felt like the beginning of something important. The captain's voice came over the ship's speakers. Prepare for entry into the distortion zone. All personnel secure positions. Elias and Vera walked to the command deck, where everyone was already strapped into their seats. Outside, the glowing curtains of energy thickened, wrapping around the ship. The lights flickered gently, but nothing harmful happened. Instead, the whole area felt strangely peaceful, like a quiet sanctuary hidden within space. After a few minutes, the ship broke through the last layer of light, and suddenly the view opened into a wide, breathtaking scene. Floating in the middle of the void was a massive structure, an enormous circular formation made of ancient stone-like metal. It glowed softly with symbols that shifted like slow-moving waves. Around it floated smaller fragments like pieces of a broken ring. Elias stared in wonder. Vyra's breath caught softly. This is it, she whispered. The star ruins. The structure seemed alive, though it made no sound or movement. It was beautiful in a way Elias couldn't describe, ancient yet perfect, like something built with both wisdom and art. The captain slowly guided the ship closer. We're picking up faint energy signatures, stable but unusual. Viera leaned forward. The central chamber. That is where Kalar was last seen. Elias felt his heart beat faster. Then we have to go inside. Within an hour, a small team was prepared. The captain wanted to join, but Vera insisted that only she and Elias enter first. The ruins had reacted strangely to outsiders before, and she believed Elias might be the key. Inside a small transport shuttle, Elias and Vera descended toward the giant structure. As they approached the entrance, the surface of the ruins shimmered, opening smoothly like a doorway of liquid metal. "It recognized us," Vera said quietly. Or maybe, Elias thought, it recognized him. The shuttle gently touched the floor inside the ruins. Elias stepped out first, feeling a soft warmth reaching through the ground into his feet. The air inside was clear and fresh, almost like a quiet garden after rain. Lights glowed along the walls in soft patterns that looked almost like writing. Viera walked beside him, her expression serious but full of quiet hope. They moved deeper into the structure, following the gentle lights that brightened as Elias approached. The path led them into a large open chamber. The ceiling was high, with swirling patterns that shifted slowly, creating shapes neither of them recognized. In the center of the chamber was a platform with a tall pillar, glowing softly. Elias stepped toward it, feeling the pull again, stronger now. Viera's voice was soft. "This is where Kalar left his last message. The energy readings are identical." Elias placed his hand gently on the pillar. The moment he touched it, the chamber came alive. The lights brightened, flowing like water along the walls. Patterns shifted rapidly, forming symbols and shapes. Vera took a small step back in surprise. Elias felt warmth moving through his arm and into his chest. It wasn't painful. It felt like someone was gently awakening something inside him that had always been there. Then the chamber began to project something in front of them, glowing images forming in the air. At first, the shapes were unclear. Slowly, they formed into recognizable scenes. He and Vera watched in silence as the images showed the ancient builders of the ruins, tall, glowing beings with gentle faces. They worked peacefully, traveling through different star systems. Their purpose was not control or power, but to spread life and harmony. "Beautiful," Elias whispered. Vera nodded softly. "My people believed they were legends. But they were real." The images changed, showing different species being created or guided, including beings who resembled the Eastern. Then, Elias saw something that made his heart stop. A group of ancient beings stood in a circle, and one of their forms shifted, becoming more human, his features nearly identical to Elias. Viera looked at him with wide eyes. Your ancestors were part of this. Humans were shaped by the same ancient builders as my people. We are distant relatives." Elias felt a strange peace settle inside him. He finally understood why he had always felt different. The scene changed again. This time it showed Kalar. He was inside the same chamber, touching the same pillar. The projection showed him speaking softly. "If someone finds this, it means the ancient device is still active. It reacts to those who carry the old genetic spark. I believe it's trying to open something, to show something." The image flickered. Elias stepped closer. Kalar continued. "Viera, if you see this, know that I am not gone. I followed the light. There is another chamber deeper inside. It leads somewhere else, another part of space, maybe another time. I could not return, but I believe someone else will come to finish what I started." The message ended. Viera's hands trembled slightly. "He is alive," she whispered. "Somewhere. He is alive." Elias placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "We'll find him." Viera closed her eyes briefly, breathing deeply. When she opened them again, her strength returned. We must find the deeper chamber. They moved further into the ruins, following the glowing patterns that responded to Elias's presence. The walls shifted to open new paths. Soft lights lit the way. Elias felt calm, as though the ruins were guiding him like an old friend. Eventually, they entered another chamber, this one circular with a pool of shining light in the center. "This is a gateway," Vera said quietly. Elias nodded. "It must be where Kylar went." The light shimmered gently, almost inviting them. Vera looked at Elias with calm confidence. "We go together." Elias took a deep breath. "Yes, together." They stepped toward the light. As they did, the entire chamber began glowing brighter, responding to their combined presence. Elias felt a wave of soft warmth move through him, not frightening but comforting. Vera took his hand gently, not as a sign of affection, but solidarity. "We will find him," she said. Elias nodded. "And we'll find the truth." As they stepped into the light, the chamber faded behind them, and a new journey began, one that would take them further than they ever imagined, into a place beyond space and time, where answers awaited them. The next morning, Ethan woke slowly, feeling a strange mix of peace and tension inside him. He sat on the soft floor of the guest chamber and looked toward the glowing ceiling that shifted its color like a calm morning sky. He took a deep breath and reminded himself why he was here. Lyria needed clarity, her people needed answers, and he needed to help bring peace, even if he did not fully understand the deeper connection between humans and her species. He stepped out into the hallway, and two tall guards, gentle-looking, not threatening, guided him toward the central hall where the council had gathered. Ethan walked steadily, even though inside he still felt the weight of the strange recognition Lyria had expressed toward him. He wondered if today he would finally learn the truth behind it. When he entered the main hall, the atmosphere felt heavy. The tall, glass-like walls shimmered with soft light, and several council members waited in silence. Lyria stood at the center, her posture firm, yet calm. When she saw Ethan, her eyes softened just a little, and he felt the same pull he had felt every time she looked at him. The council began speaking in their musical language, discussing the readings collected from the night before. Ethan stood quietly beside Lyria until one elder stepped forward and addressed him in translated English. "There is something unusual about your presence among us," the elder said. "We have compared your genetic and energy patterns to our historical records. The similarity is rare and meaningful." Ethan felt his chest tighten. "Does this have anything to do with why Lyria said I look like her husband?" The elder nodded slowly. "Yes, but it is deeper than appearance." Lyria stepped closer, her voice soft. "My husband was not only a warrior. He was connected to our ancient bond system, a link formed between two souls across distance and time. When I saw you, something inside me recognized that bond pattern again. It does not mean you are him, but it means there is something shared." Ethan swallowed. The idea felt unreal, yet something about it matched the strange feelings he had experienced since arriving. "Shared how?" The elder lifted a glowing crystal panel. "Long ago, our people studied energy resonance. When two beings form a strong bond, part of that energy is preserved in our dimension. Over centuries, it can echo. In your case, Ethan, your resonance matches the echo of Lyria's husband's bond. It is not identity. It is something like a shadow of a connection." Ethan stood quietly, processing every word. He didn't feel pressured, only more determined to understand. "So, what does this mean for me? For us?" Lyria looked at him with open honesty. "It means my instinct to trust you was not random. It means your presence here may help us. You are a bridge to something we lost long ago. The council nodded in agreement. Another elder stepped forward. Your species shows potential for strong emotional resonance. It is rare and valuable. We believe you can help us unlock a peaceful solution between our worlds. Ethan felt a sense of responsibility settle in. He knew he couldn't walk away from this. What do you need me to do? The elder lowered the panel. There is a chamber beneath the palace. It once served as a place for unity rituals. If you and Lyria enter it together, the chamber will reveal the connection between your species and ours. This knowledge may guide our future steps. Lyria turned to Ethan. It is safe, and we will face it together. Ethan nodded without hesitation. Then let's do it. The council opened the floor, revealing a descending path of smooth white stone. Soft blue light glowed along the walkways, guiding them deeper underground. Ethan followed Lyria, noticing the calm confidence in her movements. She seemed more at ease now, as if accepting the strange truth behind their connection had settled something inside her. When they reached the chamber, Ethan stopped in awe. The room was round and enormous, with crystal structures rising like pillars around the walls. In the center lay a circular platform covered in faint glowing patterns. Lyria stepped onto the platform and motioned for Ethan to join her. When he did, the floor reacted instantly, sending soft waves of light around them. Nothing harmful, just warm, gentle energy. Place your hand here, Lyria said, touching the center of the platform. Ethan placed his hand beside hers. Immediately, the entire chamber lit up. Images appeared around them, floating shapes, shifting patterns, moments from the past of her species, moments from Earth, and even patterns connecting them. Ethan watched, amazed, as the chamber showed how both species shared ancient emotional resonance. Feelings like loyalty, trust, compassion, and courage created energy patterns almost identical in both civilizations. Lyria spoke softly as she watched the images. This proves our bond patterns are not just personal, they are universal. Ethan nodded. Humans and your people aren't as different as everyone thinks. More images appeared. Lyria's husband, tall and brave, stood beside her in past memories. Then Ethan saw himself appear in similar positions, not as a replacement, but as a symbol of shared potential. The chamber spoke in a gentle tone, a system voice meant for guidance. Connection does not end with time. It echoes where harmony can grow again. Lyria closed her eyes, taking a deep breath. I understand now. My world feared humans because we saw them as unpredictable. But your presence, Ethan, proves that humans have the capacity to form deep and peaceful bonds with others. This echo brought you here. Ethan felt humbled. Thank you. I don't know why it's me, but I'll do whatever I can to help. The chamber dimmed, signaling the end of the vision. When they stepped out, the council waited for them. Lyria spoke with firm confidence. We have seen enough. It is time for our worlds to learn from each other, not fear each other. Ethan is proof of that. The elders nodded. Then we accept this path. He will serve as our ambassador if he agrees. Ethan felt a warm sense of purpose. I agree. I'll represent Earth with honesty and respect. The hall filled with soft light, a sign of approval among Lyria's people. Over the next days, Ethan and Lyria worked closely together. They traveled through the city, meeting citizens who had only heard stories of humans. Ethan's calm presence and respectful behavior touched many of them. Slowly, fear turned into curiosity, and curiosity turned into acceptance. Lyria stayed beside him often, guiding him, translating when needed, and explaining her people's customs. She became more relaxed around him, and he sensed a comforting familiarity in her company. Their connection felt natural, not romantic, not confusing, just warm and deeply reassuring. As peace talks began between Earth representatives and Lyria's people, Ethan stood proudly as the bridge that brought them together. His presence made both sides listen with more patience. Months passed, and the alliance grew stronger. Scientific exchange, cultural visits, and new missions created a promising future for both worlds. Ethan became known as the human who opened the door to a new age. One quiet evening, Ethan stood on a balcony overlooking the glowing alien city. Lyria joined him, her steps soft. "You have changed much for us," she said. Ethan smiled. Maybe it was meant to happen. Lyria looked at him with peaceful eyes. "The echo brought you here, but your choices made the difference." The wind moved gently around them, carrying soft lights from the floating gardens. Ethan felt grateful, not only for the role he had played, but for the friendship and trust he had built with Lyria and her people. He didn't know what the future held, but he knew one thing for certain. Humanity and her species would walk into it together, stronger than ever. Because one unexpected moment, one frozen stare, had revealed something powerful about connection itself. And as long as he lived, Ethan would honor that connection every single day.